15-Minute Mondays, your kickstart to week high-energy 15-minute episode on the Success Blueprint. I'm your host, Daniel Greg Johnson. Let's get right into it. Hello everybody, welcome back on the Success Blueprint. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. It is 15-Minute Monday again. I'm Daniel, your host, and welcome back. Let's get right into it. I see this when I have coaching sessions, when I have intake sessions, when people inquire and ask about things that I could possibly help them with. And then I outline the frameworks, the work that needs to be done. And after a bit, I can see that they're not afraid of success. They're afraid of the new standard success will demand from them. And that's a big one. Because if you want to be someone else, you need to act like someone else. I tell my clients very often, if you're looking into the future and you want to be a successful businessman, and I'm taking a very standard example, then you need to start acting like that person today. And then people might say, but how do I do that? How do I know? Well, it's kind of easy. Look at the business person that you admire, someone that is a role model, and then see what are the attributes. How do they show up? What are the qualities that you like? And what do you see? Where's the gap? And then you start acting that way. That's how easy it is. So today, you're not afraid of success. You're afraid of the new standard success will demand from you. And I'm telling you, some people do not sabotage themselves because they think they will fail. They sabotage themselves because a part of them has started to suspect they might actually win. And that is something that sits deep. They might actually win. There's a fear. And failure hurts, but it is familiar, you know it. It gives you a story to return to. I tried, maybe I'm not ready, maybe the timing was wrong. Failure gives you somewhere to hide. And that is what that business person that you have envisioned in the future doesn't do. They don't think that way. And that's the difference. Success removes hiding places. Once you prove you can operate at a higher level, people expect you to stay there. Worse, you expect it from yourself. That is the real fear, not winning once, becoming responsible for the person who can win repeatedly. So welcome back on the 15-Minute Monday on the Success Blueprint, how we get better at this thing called life and business. Today we're talking about the fear of success, but not in the lazy way people usually describe it. Most people are not afraid of money, recognition, better relationships, or a bigger business. They are afraid of what those things will demand once they arrive. The new pressure, the new visibility, the new identity. Once you have seen yourself perform at a higher level, you cannot honestly pretend you are incapable anymore. Success gives you proof, then proof asks for consistency, and that's where it falls apart. And why does this matter? Well, it matters because many people are not stuck through lack of ability. They are stuck because they have not made peace with the emotional cost of being consistent. You can be gifted and still be loyal to a lower standard. You can want more and still panic when more starts arriving. That is when people delay the proposal, avoid the call, ignore the opportunity, or create drama in a relationship that was becoming peaceful. Do you see yourself? Can you resonate? Happened to all of us. From the outside, it looks irrational. From the inside, it feels like protection. If success becomes real, the old story weakens. And what's the problem here? Well, the problem is that most people think success is an event. A promotion, a deal, a launch, a breakthrough, a relationship that finally feels healthy, or a business that finally gains traction. But success is not only what arrives, tribe. Success is what keeps demanding after the excitement fades. People want the reward but underestimate the maintenance. They want the title but not the visibility. They want growth but not the system and uncomfortable conversations growth requires. So when someone says, maybe I'm afraid of success, let that sit a bit. I would sharpen it. Maybe you are afraid success will call your bluff. Maybe it will ask whether the person who wanted the result is willing to become the person who can hold the result. So why does that become problematic? What is the currency we're bleeding here? There's a strange comfort in almost. Almost successful, almost ready, almost launched, almost visible, almost disciplined, almost there. Almost protects the fantasy. As long as you are almost there, you can still believe in the version of yourself that would dominate if everything lined up perfectly. You can still say, when the timing is right, Actual success is messier. It requires delivery when you are tired, leadership when you are doubted, preparation when talent is no longer enough, and boundaries around the old you. Sometimes failure is easier on the ego than success. Failure lets you blame the market, the childhood, the economy, the partner, the boss, the timing. And success corners you and says, now we know you can. What are you going to do with that? That is why sabotage often happens right at the edge. Not when everything is collapsing, when things are finally beginning to work. But as we do on the Success Blueprint, I have a 5-step toolkit for you that you can use to very quickly change that around, the new standard framework. And I hope that you make some notes or come back to it when you have some time, because that is where the change happens. Action, not just motivation. Step number 1, the success aftermath audit. Before you chase the win, audit what the win will require afterward. Most people visualize the celebration. Very few visualize the maintenance cost. Ask, if this works, what will people expect from me next? What will I expect for myself? What routine will have to change? And what excuse will no longer be available? A business owner may want more clients, but more clients may require better pricing, stronger admin, and clearer boundaries. Write the after list, not the dream list, the demand list. That's an important one right here. Step number 2, the identity thermostat. Every person has an internal setting for what feels normal. Earn too much, and you may spend it back down. Feel too loved, and you may test the relationship. That is the identity thermostat, trying to return to your familiar temperature. So watch the pullback moment. When things improve, where do you delay, over-explain, pick a fight, disappear, or abandon the system that was working? That is the old identity asking for its room back. It's a big one. This 5-step framework, it's important, tribe. It's a powerful one. Step number 3, the repeatability question. One win is exciting. Repeated winning is identity change, and it requires something from you. So ask, what would make this repeatable? Many people panic after success because they think the first win was luck. A leader gives one strong presentation and worries if they can do it again. Turn the win into a receipt. What did I do differently? What did I say no to? What preparation helped? What routines made this more likely? Success becomes less frightening when you understand the mechanics. And step number 4, the standard contract. When you rise, you need a new contract with yourself. The old contract may have said, I work in panic. I undercharge. I'm always available. I wait until I feel ready. The new contract must be clearer. If I succeed, I will not become permanently available. I will raise my systems with my opportunity. I will protect recovery. I will not abandon the habits that got me here. A new standard without a contract becomes pressure. A new standard with a contract becomes structure. And that's where people let it fall apart. Step number 5, the higher room rehearsal. Success feels scary when people enter the new room emotionally unprepared. They get the opportunity, then behave as if they are trespassing. Ask, how would I behave if I already belonged here? How would I speak? What would I stop apologizing for? Identity follows rehearsal. You do not become a repeated winner by waiting for confidence. You rehearse the behaviors until your nervous system catches up with evidence. And that's what showing up means. Being intentional about what you do, having structures in place. And why does this matter, tribe? The deeper meaning here is responsibility. Most people say they want freedom, but freedom and responsibility are tied together far more tightly than people admit. If you want the freedom of a bigger life, you inherit the responsibility of a bigger self. The new standard may cost you old excuses, certain friendships, and the comfort of being underestimated. That cost, tribe, is not punishment, it is the entrance fee. At some point, life stops asking whether you are talented and starts asking whether you are trustworthy with your own potential. That is the work, not perfection, reliability. In business, the entrepreneur wants bigger clients but still operates with small client systems. Bigger opportunities appear and they delay, underprice, overpromise, and call it stress. I see this in the coaching sessions with small business owners, with entrepreneurs. In leadership, someone gets promoted and softens every decision because they do not want to seem arrogant. They wanted influence, but influence requires clarity. And in relationships, I see that when someone meets a stable person and starts craving chaos. Peace feels too quiet, so they test it, just to return to a feeling they understand. And in daily life, one good week becomes two. Then the old voice appears. Who do you think you are? That question has stolen more futures than failure ever has. Let me give you some advanced thoughts here. From a decision science perspective, people overweight immediate relief and underweight future identity cost. Pulling back gives relief now, but every avoidance carries a future tax. From a stoic perspective, separate discomfort from danger. A higher standard may feel uncomfortable. That does not mean it is unsafe. Sometimes discomfort is the sound of an old identity losing authority. And from a leadership perspective, tribe, the standard must become visible. Do not say, I need to step up. Define the receipts. What will be visible this week? What will be measured? What conversation will happen? I need to step up is vague, and people use these things all the time. But what would it look like when you stepped up? If you had stepped up next week, what would have changed? What would be different? What would be different in the way you look at things, the way you think, the way you act? You need receipts, and that means you need to say, what needs to change? What will it look like when I succeeded with the thing that I'm setting out to achieve? High performers build proof loops. Small actions, clear standards, honest reviews, recovery, recalibration, and repeat. And that's how it works. So let me give you your weekly challenge. This week, do the new standard audit. Choose one area where you say you want success. Then answer this in writing. If I succeed here, what new standard will I have to live by? Write down one old hiding place you must give up. Procrastination, undercharging, emotional chaos, waiting for permission, pretending you are confused when you are avoiding. Then take one action within 72 hours that proves you are willing to live at the next standard before you feel fully ready. Action ends the fantasy. Evidence begins the new identity. And if this episode hit something honest in you, share it with someone standing at the edge of the next level and stepping backwards. And please subscribe to the Success Blueprint, how we get better at this thing called life and business. Leave a review, follow the show, and send this episode to 3 people. Copy the episode link, send it on WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, anywhere where you communicate with your people. There's one person who needs to stop confusing fear with caution. I need you out there to grow this tribe, and every week we're growing, and that is because 1 or 2 people do not just listen and appreciate the free content, but they take action and do something to help to get this out there. And that's all I'm asking you. So I'm saying thank you in advance for sharing the episode. And a special thank you to Doc Marty Mushrooms for supporting the show. When you are raising your standard, you need more than ambition. You need steadier energy, cleaner focus, and a body that can keep up with the person you are becoming. I use Doc Marty Mushroom products, and they help fantastically clear the mind, brain fog, cognitive ability increases. It's a fantastic product. There's many out there, especially for peak performers and leaders. So head over to docmarty.com. His mushroom blends support focus, resilience, and daily performance in a natural, grounded way. You cannot build a bigger life with a system constantly running on fumes. Treat your energy like part of the strategy. DocMarty.com, and with the discount code DAN20, DAN20, you receive a 20% discount on your first purchase. So try it out. And in closing, tribe, you are not afraid of success. You are afraid of the version of you who will no longer be able to pretend. Maybe that is exactly the invitation. Maybe the next level is asking you to stop negotiating with the smaller story. Maybe it is asking you to become reliable with your own potential. So when success gets close and you feel yourself pulling back, do not immediately call it stress. Do not dress it up as timing. Ask the harder question. What standard am I being invited into now? And then quietly, without drama, start living like the person who can stay there. That's my piece of advice for the week. I hope you have a fantastic one. This was Daniel Craig Johnson, your host on the Success Blueprint. With my promise, I'll be back. Take care, tribe.